Hello, welcome back to Picture Perfect Greek. And here I am determined to make you sound like a local. So we don't want to just learn, textbook Greek that's easy to find all over the internet. What's more difficult is to learn how to use words that are really specific to how everyday people speak and to get this color, these idiomatic expressions into your Greek so that you sound more like a real person. And this is what we will be doing. Today, here are 10 Greek expressions that will make you sound like a local. And you can use them at any level of Greek, really, but mostly they will fit into the speech of somebody of level B and above. If you are a very beginning with Greek, just learning your first words, then perhaps these are a little too advanced. So let's go and have a look at these expressions that will make you sound like a local. And the first one is Diladi. Diladi means that is to say, I mean, or it can be a question. Do you mean? This is the Swiss Army knife of Greek clarifications. At its most basic, Diladi means something like that is, or in other words. So you use it to rephrase or to explain something that you just said. Είναι φυτοφάγος, δηλαδή δεν τρώει κρέας. He is a vegetarian or a vegan, and therefore, δηλαδή, he does not eat meat. But it can be a little more interesting than just that. It's also often used as a question to push back on something, to express surprise, or to demand clarification. For example, imagine your friend tells you that they are quitting their job, and you might reply, Δηλαδή, τι θα κάνεις τώρα? Meaning, what do you mean? What are you going to do now? And if you say it with a rising intonation, it basically means something like, wait, what are you saying? Δηλαδή? Δηλαδή? And it has still another use when you are a little annoyed and you want the other person to explain themselves. Δηλαδή, δεν θα έρθεις. So, you mean you are not coming to my party. It can carry anything from genuine curiosity to mild passive aggression, depending entirely on the tone. So start dropping it into your conversation and you will sound a lot more like a local. The next is Telos Panton, which means something like anyway, in any case, in a conversation that is in danger of derailing, of going on forever, or of going off into some tangent, Telos Panton gets the participants back on track. It literally means the end of everything, telos, the end, Panton, of everything, of all things. But think of it as anyway in English, or at any rate. Its most common job is to wrap up a digression as a signal that you are done with a particular topic. Δεν κατάλαβα τι ήθελε, αλλά τέλος πάντων ας προχωρήσουμε. I didn't understand what he was saying, but anyway, let's go on. It's also used for resignation when you want to finally stop talking or stop arguing about something and you are okay with just letting it go. Τέλος πάντων, δεν πειράζει. After all, anyway, it does not matter. And you will hear it very often in everyday Greek. It's just wrapping up a dispute and then going on with your life. Τέλος πάντων, let's go to the next one. Aspume, which means let's say or for example. This is used when you want to give an example, like in English when you say for example, but it's a little looser. It is not so formal. For example is something you would write in a textbook, but aspume is strictly spoken. You would never write it into a book. Αν θέλεις κάτι ελαφρύ, ας πούμε μία σαλάτα, μπορούμε να πάμε εκεί. If you want something lighter to eat, let's say a salad, then we can go to that restaurant. So it's like let's say, and actually it means exactly that. Aspume, let us say. Another example, θα κοστίσει Aspume 50 euro. It will cost, let's say, 50 euros. And what makes it so useful is that it softens a claim. So instead of giving a hard number or an example that sounds like it is the truth, the Aspume makes it into something exactly again like, let's say in English, into something which is a more provisional statement. Let's say this, and to give you an example, this one, but you're not committing to anything very specific or very hard or claiming to have any expertise. Endaxi, okay. Endaxi is so common that you probably know it already, but Endaxi has a few different uses. It means okay, of course, in the basic sense of agreement. Θα πάμε στις 8, says the one person, we will go at 8, and the other answers Endaxi, okay. But it's also used for resigned acceptance. So your friend does not want to go somewhere where you want to go, but since you have to agree, you say Endaxi, then we will not go, Endaxi, with a falling tone, meaning something like fine or whatever. And then it's also used to change the topic. Somebody is going on, and then you want to kind of politely stop them and talk about something else. You say, Endaxi, και τώρα άκου τι έγινε. Okay, we are finished with that, and now listen what happens. And even stronger, you can use it to calm down someone. Εντάξει, μη φωνάζεις. It's okay, don't shout. Calm down, don't shout. And you can repeat it also, εντάξει, εντάξει, which means again, calm down, it's all okay. We do what you're saying, stop shouting at me. So it's a more universal calming down thing instead of just agreeing to something. And again, this is similar to English, where you have this sense of, okay, okay, don't shout, or okay, okay, we will do what you say, right? You can also do it with okay. Re is one of the most commonly used and most dangerous, one must say, in everyday life words. Re has no direct English translation. It is something like dude or man or hey you. And it is sometimes used in front of words like friend, refile, and worse ones, but I won't say them here. And it is often used among friends. Refile, tiles, you, friend, what are you saying? So in this case, it's almost like a you or dude, what are you talking about? And then there is re si, which is a little softer and can be affectionate. Ρε εσύ, πού χάθηκες? Hey you dude, where were you lost? Where did you go? I haven't seen you for such a long time. You can also use it in the combination ρε παιδί μου, you my child, which has nothing to do with being a child. It just means something like, I need your advice. Help me decide what to do. I need your advice. So this ρε παιδί μου brings you closer to the other person, makes them into your advisor or your friend whom you consult to get some opinion. But it's very important that this is strictly informal. You use it only with good friends. If you say it to somebody who is a stranger, or even worse, in a formal situation, to your boss, then it can be very insulting, because it means that you are disvaluing them, you are taking away their position, and you are accessing them in a much more informal way than you are supposed to. It's almost like in older German, if you know German or French, where you have this plural way of addressing strangers or superiors, your boss, or an official context, and then suddenly you use the singular instead of the plural. So in English you cannot do that, but in these other languages you can do it, and then it's similar, right? It creates a familiarity that is not really justified, and then it is insulting, and there is similar. So don't use it if you are not sure that the other person is your friend, understands what you're doing, is at the same level as you, and will not take it wrongly. Next one is kita, kitakse, which means look, but it also means something like listen. Here is the thing. So it's more general than looking. It doesn't really mean literally to look. It means that now I want to draw your attention to the next thing I'm going to say. So for example, you want to explain something and the other person thinks that this is very simple and you say, kita, δεν είναι τόσο απλό. Look, it is not that simple. It's also good when you want to create a bit of familiarity with someone, but you at the same time you feel like you want to disagree, so you can say something, kita, εγώ σε καταλαβαίνω, αλλά, look, I understand you, but the others will not understand what you're saying. You know? So this creates a bond between the speaker and the other person. And if you have a bit of a pause there, it can also mean something like, look, I want to be level with you. Kita, now comes the truth. And if you're speaking to a group of people, you can say κοιτάξτε. And again, κοιτάξτε doesn't mean in this sense, look there, literally. It means, look, I want to explain something to you. Κοιτάξτε, η βενζίνη έχει ακριβήνει. Look, the fuel for the car has become more expensive when you want to explain something, about world politics or why at this particular fuel station you have to pay more. Next one, Ksero εγώ, means I don't know. How should I know? Ksero εγώ. Ksero means to know. Εγώ, I know. But it means the opposite. It means I don't know. Or how would I know? How could I know? And you use it as a filler when you are uncertain, when you want to be vague, when you cannot be bothered to commit to a precise answer. Πού πήγε ο Γιάννης? Ξέρω εγώ, ίσως, στο σπίτι του. Where is Yannis? I don't know, perhaps at his home. And you often use it mid-sentence when you want to soften a guess. For example, ήταν, ξέρω εγώ, γύρω στα 30. He was, I don't know, perhaps around 30. And it just makes clear that you don't have a firm answer, but you are guessing instead. And having this Ksero going there makes everything sound a little looser and not like you have the definitive answer to things. Next one is Vasika. Many people hate this because it's severely overused. Vasika means basically, literally, but it is a word that is very much overused in particular groups or age groups or situations. Some people say Vasika all the time, which is similar to English, where you have people saying like all the time, like in the middle of a like sentence, they say like all the time. So this is the same with Vasika. So you should probably avoid overdoing it because it can go on people's nerves. But it can mean fundamentally or basically, Vasika το πρόβλημα είναι η γραφειοκρατία. Basically, fundamentally, the problem is bureaucracy. But often it's also used just to soften a sentence again. Βασικά δεν είναι ακριβώς έτσι. Basically, it's not exactly like that. So it means, listen, it's not necessarily like that. Let's see this a little more in an open-minded way. But as I said, it's often overused, and then it would be like saying well or actually or like in English. So don't overdo that. But putting a few Vasika in there makes you sound really very Greek, basically. Loipon means so or well then, and you use this when you want to restart a sentence or when you want to transition or conclude anything you are saying. And it is like saying so at the beginning of a story. Λοιπόν, άκου τι έγινε χθες. So listen what happened yesterday. So this introduces that you're going to say something now. And you also use it at the end when you want to wrap up something. Λοιπόν, εγώ θα φύγω τώρα. Well then, I'm going to leave now. It's the thing that the teacher would say to call the class to order. Loipon, παιδιά. So children, listen now. And it can also express impatience. Loipon, τι αποφάσισες? Your friend is standing there thinking what they want to order, and then you say, Loipon, τι αποφάσισες? So finally, what have you decided? What have you chosen? So the Diladi we talked about previously is for asking for clarifications, and Telos Panton is the topic changer, and Loipon is, you could say, the engine that keeps the whole conversation moving forward. And finally, a very common phrase you can use all the time, πώς να στο πω? How should I put it? This buys you some thinking time while you are planning what to say next, and especially if your Greek is not so good, then it is very useful because you can think about the next word you want to say while pausing the conversation for a moment. Πώς να στο πω? How can I say this to you? How can I tell you? And it breaks down into pause. How, na, should I, sto, shuto, you, to you, po, tell you. How should I tell you this? And you're saying it when you try to reach for the right word or the right expression, or you try to be delicate. Ήταν, πώς να στο πω, λίγο περίεργος. He was, how can I put it, a little strange. And so actually, paradoxically, although it creates a pause in which you can think what you want to say next, it actually makes you sound more fluent, not less, because it's such an idiomatic way of pausing. Πώς να στο πω, just use it very often, and then you will sound exactly like a Greek. Okay, and with this we have had our 10 expressions. Let's briefly summarize them. Δηλαδή, that is to say, I mean. Τέλος πάντων, anyway, in any case, used to wrap up a conversation. Aspume, let's say, or for example, Endaxi, okay. Re is the informal particle to address people like dude or man. Kita, κοίταξε, look, listen, here is the thing. Ksero εγώ, I don't know, how should I know? Vasika, basically. Loipon, so or well then. And πώς να στο πω, how should I put it? And here's a little quiz for you. Fill in the blank. You're telling a friend that something costs roughly 40 euros, and then you are saying, θα κοστίσει 40 euro. What do you put into this? The answer probably, you would say Aspume. Θα κοστίσει, Aspume, 40 euro. Your friend says something surprising, and you want to push back with, wait, what do you mean? Which expression would you use? Would you say Telos Panton? Would you say Diladi? Would you say Vasika? Or would you say Ksero εγώ? Something surprising, and you want to say, wait, what do you mean? Telos Panton, Diladi, Vasika, or Ksero εγώ? Of course, you would use Diladi. Next one. You have been rambling for a while and want to say, anyway, let's move on. What do you say? You would say, Telos Panton. Let's go on. Telos Panton. You are with your boss in a formal meeting and you address him with re. Is this correct or is it wrong? Of course, this is wrong. Re is only for your friends. It's not appropriate to talk to your boss in this way. What does it mean when I say, κοίτα, δεν είναι τόσο απλό? Κοίτα, δεν είναι τόσο απλό. Do I mean, look at that, it's so simple? Look, it's not that simple. I looked, but it wasn't simple. Or you should look, it's quite simple. Kita, then in το απλό. Look at that, it's so simple. Look, it's not that simple. I looked, but it wasn't simple. Or you should look, it's quite simple. And of course, look, it's not that simple is the right answer. Fill in the blank. A young Greek speaker wants to gently correct someone. They start their sentence with δεν είναι ακριβώς έτσι. Now there are multiple words you could put in there. You could be saying πώς να στο πω, δεν είναι ακριβώς έτσι. I don't know how to say it. Or Loipon, δεν είναι ακριβώς έτσι. Or you could also say Koita, δεν είναι ακριβώς έτσι. So you see, these words are not so precise, right? You can use multiple in every situation, but in this case, perhaps the question says a younger speaker, so perhaps the intended answer here is Vasika. Vasika, δεν είναι ακριβώς έτσι. And with this we are finished. You will find all the written materials for this lesson on my Substack, holidaygreek.substack.com, where you will find all the text for this, all the explanations and the quiz, and you can go and do this there again, or you can read about all these things again. So if you want to have this lesson, go subscribe to the Substack, and then it will also be sent to you. Every lesson will be sent to you by email. Okay, so we are finished for the moment. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye-bye.